Today is part 4 in this 10-part series where we're really focusing on Bitcoin. We've covered that we've been in a big bear market for over a year, but we've set some price targets of what's very likely to happen with Bitcoin over the coming months. And what we've said is between April and July, we're probably going to see a nice big movement to the upside. But today, we're going to really focus on what is likely to happen in the coming weeks with Bitcoin, because we can use something called Fibonacci retracements of typical buying and selling psychology, which can really allow us to see what's likely to happen. So should we buy now? Should we wait and stand aside? Or should we be looking to short the market? And that's what we're going to go into in a lot of detail today with price ratios, which is a really, really powerful tool. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and let's dive straight in. Now, what we did with this movement to the downside to get these ratios was we measured this big movement to the downside, and we've got these retracements up as the minimum movement. And it's 50% is the typical minimum that we're anticipating with Bitcoin. But now we're going to do the same with this part over here. And we're going to zoom right the way in because it's the exact same methodology, but for the more recent move that we've had with Bitcoin. So we've had this recent upward trajectory with Bitcoin. It looks like a nice 5-wave move to the upside, and we expect some type of correction. And I don't think this correction is complete yet. I think we still got a couple more weeks to go. And one of the reasons for that is we haven't hit the minimum retracement level. So I'm just going to zoom in a little more. I'll just keep these targets on the screen as well. And I'll just zoom in on this side like so. All right, so how do we do this retracement? Well, very simply, we're just going to take this low to this high, and we're going to use what's called the Fib retracement tool on TradingView. And if we just take the clicks, we'll click on this bar over here, this low to this high. And we get the 3 retracement zones again. And what we're focusing on here is this 50% retracement. This is the typical, most common minimum amount of retracement. How I like you to think about this, how I think about this, is that the market has gone through a sprint with a lot of buying pressure, and it's been quite impulsive to the upside, especially this part of the market here. And what do you need after you do a sprint? Like if you're literally physically running, well, you need a rest period. You need a breather. And the markets, it's like the same thing. There's a breather level. It's called a correction, profit taking. You can call it a number of things. And it typically occurs in 3 waves. But what I want to focus on is this price ratio, 50%. And it's the $20,000 range with Bitcoin. This is the minimum expectation over the coming weeks when it comes to Bitcoin. Another thing that supports this is the momentum position. If we look at the weekly momentum, it is still bearish and it's pointing down on 2, what's called look back periods. It's basically indicating, and it's been really, really useful for us, that we should be still sideways to down overall for the next few weeks. Now, it doesn't mean we won't get a little uptick, but this high shouldn't get exceeded before the $20,000 range of Bitcoin is reached. So let's just want to zoom into that. And again, just a bit more detail. And by the way, if you want more timely information with Bitcoin, make sure you're taking advantage of my free Bitcoin membership area. We do a video report with timely information to really go into a decent amount of detail. In fact, it's quite a bit of detail to see what's likely to happen. And we look at momentum, pattern, price, and time. And in this 10-part series, we're breaking down the macro picture, but we're also looking at the intermediate time frame as well. So this is free. It's in the link below. Do check it out. It will just help take your trading to the next level. So with Bitcoin, before we wrap up today being part 4, is we've had this pretty big surge down. It's a pretty decent move to the downside. We are probably going to get some type of reaction, but we anticipate this high, the $25,000 range, will not get exceeded, and just be prepared for a second leg down, because this won't only impact Bitcoin, it will tend to impact the rest of the crypto market as well. What we're going to do in part 5 is we're going to go in some time ratios. How long is this correction likely to occur? And we'll get some time targets, very, very specific, And we're going into a bit of detail into that in part 5 as well. So let's finish on a quote. This was yesterday's quote. Today's quote from Socrates. We're doing 10 quotes from Socrates, the wise. It is better to change an opinion than to persist in a wrong one. It is better to change an opinion than to persist in a wrong one. Now, this is really key and crucial when it comes to trading. What I found is, especially newbies, if you haven't been trading for a while, it's difficult to comprehend that your analysis might not be right. In other words, I'm just going to go back to the chart with Bitcoin because it's really, really relevant. We were doing, detailed analysis on Bitcoin, and there was a high probability that this was actually the high for Bitcoin, and this was going to end up being some type of correction. But this ended up making a new high. So what we needed to do was to stand back and reevaluate. And what we said, even before the new high was made, was that if Bitcoin goes above this high, we just need to reevaluate because the buying and selling psychology, there's something else occurring. And that allowed us to really see that this is actually looking like a clean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we should be getting the 3-wave correction. And when Socrates, obviously it was before Bitcoin's time, when he's saying the following, it is better to change an opinion than to persist in a wrong one. Often, people that lose a lot of money in trading hold on to old opinions even when the technical analysis has been voided, the thing that shouldn't have happened has happened, but people hold on to the old opinion. We need to stay flexible and make business-like decisions that are based on logic and objectivity. So join me in the next part in this 10-part series. We're going to go in some recent and local time targets on sideways to down, but for how long with Bitcoin before we see the next rocket to the upside.